Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Magic Beans podcast, episode 105. My name is Cracker, and I will be your host for this episode. And I'm joined by one of my good mates and a fellow bean, Stu. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Good, mate. Good. Just you and me. Bit of a smaller cast in terms of the amount of people.
Is this the A-team?
I think so.
Or is it like... No, I mean, it can't be the A-team if I'm here, but we've got the A-team host, so that's good enough.
Oh, okay. But I think you're A-team, Stu. I'm happy to have you with me.
Appreciate that.
So this week, the other beans are madly prepping for the Invy.
They are.
Shorty and Chewy are busy editing videos and preparing all sorts of OBS things. I don't know what Shorty does, man. It's a lot.
He does all the hard work. I mean...
He does.
As always, we do nothing. I kind of feel bad.
Yeah, and I feel particularly bad this time because we're doing nothing for the Invy either. Both you and I are in the throes of packing to move house, so unfortunately our weekends are kind of write-offs at the moment. So
are you as devastated as I am? Because I'm absolutely shattered that I'm missing out this weekend.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not even going to be able to watch it live.
I mean, I'll try and have it in, like, my phone, like in my pocket. Like, I'll just set up my phone with like headphones around the place while I'm doing things. But yeah, unfortunately.
Actually, that's a good idea. I do have a screen in just about every room in the house. I could just have Twitch open on all of them. But we've got an open for inspection as well, right in the middle of it.
That's fine.
Get
them in, mate.
Right,
they can join the next league.
It's time to convert the masses.
Perfect. Listen, marketing. We'll just jam it in your throat like an ad.
Yeah, sounds good to me. Let's make it happen.
Speaking of ads.
Oh, it's time to shill.
Let's go. Do you want to have a chat with our wonderful listeners here about our sponsors, mate?
Yeah, I'd love to. So, as always, a big shout out to Josh and Pat's MTG Bazaar, who sponsor the Magic Beans cast, the Magic Beans tournament series, and, as is the main topic of our episode tonight, the Magic Beans 2021 Invitational. They have provided so many prizes for us that we can't believe it. We can't believe the amount of support they give us, and we love them so much. So what I want you to do, our loyal listeners, is to look them up on Facebook or go to jpmtgbazaar.com.au. I think that's what it is.
That's the one.
And that'll direct you to their Facebook page. Go and bid on every auction you can, whatever the cards. If you see one of the beans bidding, outbid us because it's hilarious. Jen, I know you're listening. I know you do it. Continue, please. And when you win, tell them the beans sent you.
Love it. Chewy was telling me that he got a card this week. He got a Seeker's Chariot. He outbid Cue Ball by $1. It was laughing. I was like, are you going to give it to him? I was like, maybe.
No, I love it. So this is what it's all about.
It is. It's the friendly banter that the beans encourage, mostly because we've been doing it since before we were the beans. It was just funny.
I have tried to outbid Polywaffle before on a card.
I mean,
just once. It's like...
All you're doing there is dummy bids, mate. You're just raising the price for him.
Exactly.
If he wants to win it.
Oh, dear.
All right. So, this weekend, the Invy, in just a couple of days, but before that, there's a couple of other topics that we thought we should quickly chat about. This weekend tomorrow is Thanksgiving in America.
Yes, it is.
Happy Thanksgiving to DeBroom and anyone else in the States or other parts of the world that are listening to this.
Thor is Chris Hemsworth, I think, and I think there's a couple of others.
Yeah. So happy Thanksgiving, guys and girls. Love you all. And as a bit of a little gift from WotC, they've given us a free arena event where you can play standard decks with any cards, even ones not in your collection. So you can just build it up, play until the event ends. It's free to enter. I mean, there's no prizes. I think you get like a sleeve back for a win. Cool, great, But yeah, you could just. I think this is pretty sweet. So I might try and. Yeah, that's not going to happen. I'm saying I'm going to try and play some arena, but this is an opportunity for you to build those decks you don't have the wildcards for, or you've been holding off on because, new standard, and we're trying to work out what's going to settle. So,
as if anyone's got wildcards outside of commons and uncommons.
Yeah, correct. I've got those just like those few rares sitting at me, sitting there looking, and I'm like,
So basically,
what
this
precious things do I need to buy with you?
Exactly. So what this event amounts to is, come and test all these cards that you haven't got the wild cards for a weekend, and then hate the fact that you can't play with those cards because you've got their wild cards.
I did that before. I remember doing that with the what deck was it? It was like ages and ages ago. I think it might have been the Fire's Invention deck.
Yes.
And like the full Yorion build, like those crazy ones that you could do.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, this deck is amazing. And then I looked at the wild cards and I was like, nope, this deck is terrible. I hate it. Because it's an 80 card deck with probably like 50 rares in it or something like that. I'm like, this just never
pass.
But anyway, take advantage of it. Yeah. Take advantage of this little opportunity while you can, and jam some games, and it should be fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
The other thing that we wanted to quickly talk about is there's another Arena Open coming up soon.
Right.
We're big fans of these. We tend to chat about them a fair bit when they're coming up. But this one, mate, first time, it's for draft. Now, I've got the limited channel not muted, but it gets full very quickly.
It does. It very much does.
I'll open Discord and I'll be like limited 35 new notifications. It's like I looked at it 5 minutes ago. Like, what are you boys doing? So people are popping off in there. You've been drafting a bunch.
I would say it's the most popular channel in the Magic Beans Discord. We have a lot of limited devotees.
We do.
And I have probably become one of them. So naturally, I'm pretty excited about this event. It's coming December 4th and 5th. Unfortunately, I cannot participate in it because, as Cracker mentioned earlier, I'm in the throes of moving house and packing and all that sort of stuff. So I missed out.
It's also my wedding anniversary.
It's also your wedding?
I'm just doubly not playing Magic that time.
But on top of that, these tend to have a entry fee, which I can't find right now. Maybe it's not giving us an entry
25,000 gold or 5,000
Here we are.
gems.
Now, I don't have any gold, right? So we just had a new set come out with the Innistrad Crimson Vow, which is what this draft will be, and I've drafted a lot of it and had a lot of fun. So what I tend to do is try and convert my gold into gems. The trouble is, it turns out I suck at draft, and I end up with no gold and no gems. So I can't enter this event anyway. I've got nothing unless I want to shell out some actual money, which I tend not to do on Arena.
Yes.
But then, sorry.
So entry fees aside,
yes.
What do you think as far as have you played a mix of best of 3 and best of 1, or what have you been playing so far?
I've only been playing best of 1 this set. In Midnight Hunt, I did a bit more of the traditional best of 3, and just because I've been so time poor of late, I just do best of 1 drafts to get through a game. I can sit down and play
fit
one
them in
game
much more easily.
Yeah, exactly. And then come back to a draft later. Whereas playing the best of 3, and because I'm investing gold or gems into it, I'm going to get in a lot more trouble when my beautiful wife is singing out to me, "I need you," and I'm like, "Hang on, I'm just in game 2 of best of 3."
Just be 45 more minutes, love. Don't even worry about it.
And it's limited, right? So games tend to drag on. And in previous limited events, there seems to be, I don't know, it feels like Crimson Vow in particular is a lot more dirtly. So yeah, it's a lot slower. So best of 3 just has not been of interest to me this time around.
Okay, cool. But how have you been finding the format? Have you been enjoying it? You said you haven't been winning a lot, but you've won a few.
I've probably broken even in terms of my win losses across maybe 10 drafts. So I've had a number of 5-3s, a couple of 3-3s, and a couple of 0-3s.
Okay.
Sometimes I draft a deck and I'm like, this thing looks amazing. Look at these bomb rares, and then it's like, loss. Oh, all right.
Feels bad.
Cha-ching, let's put another 10,000 gold into this and let's go again. Let's run it back. Done that a couple of times and I've had very minimal success with that. Turns out rage drafting after going 0-3 is not a good idea.
Turns out rage anything is generally not a good idea. Pro tip from the Magic Beans here. It's actually...
But overall, I've had a lot of fun with it. I feel like I say this a lot, but when you scroll Twitter, you see a lot of negative commentary around everything, right? And that's what I'm realizing.
Yeah,
the negative stuff is always there. But I've found Crimson Vow to be a really fun draft, and I think the blood token mechanic has turned out to be a lot more interesting and fun than I'd initially thought it might be.
That's
and
cool.
the build arounds with that, particularly around red and black, are just I love it actually.
The description I heard for blood, which helped it make a lot of sense for me, is it just turns every card in your hand now has cycling 1.
Yes, exactly.
And I was like, oh, now I understand it. Plus, there's other cards that get upside. So yeah, seems cool. I like that without giving every card in the set cycling 1 because that would be dumb.
Yeah,
and I'd be sad that my Zenith laser rotated. All right, so as you said, 4th and 5th of December, so next weekend, not this one coming. Usual deal, you'll have a large window on day 1 if you manage to get 7 wins for the best of 1 or 4 wins for best of 3. I don't quite know how that works.
Yeah, that's different, isn't it?
4 wins of best of 3. You get invitational tokens to day 2, and then from there you can, have cash prizes and things. Unfortunately, the timing usually ends up pretty tough. It's like starts like Pacific time in America, so that's usually kind of pretty bad for us. I remember one of the ones I did ages ago. Actually, it was the cycling meta. Was when Ikoria was just around. I think Shorty and I jumped in and signed up at 1 a.m. We had to register, and then we both got up at 5:30 or 6 to play some games and stuff before work. Yeah, it wasn't the best. So keep in mind that you'll have to draft again. It won't be the same deck, and day 2 is only best of 3. So you're in for a lot, and up to 8 wins. So potentially many rounds in day 2. So,
but if you've got the time, or if you're working from home and can sneak it on one screen, it's totally worth it if you've got the money to put into it. Or
for sure.
The in-game money, not real money. I do not condone that.
No, and if you're gonna, if you do draft one, jump into the limited channel.
We'd love to follow along. Yeah,
everyone will be keen to see what you're up to. So let us know. All right, Stu.
Yes.
The main topic, mate.
The main event.
The Invi is upon us, and I mean, I'm still very excited, even if I'm not going to be as involved as I was last year. This has been kind of the culmination of, well, not kind of, it has absolutely been the culmination of all the events for this year. We've been working towards it from the start, which has been just amazing. We've had such a good year for these leagues that we've been running. So maybe, do you want to just run us through who's actually qualified for?
Yeah, we can do that.
And maybe we can just, quickly rattle off kind of the decks that they're playing, and then we'll go through each of them in a bit more detail and sort of give our thoughts on what we see from them.
Right, yeah, absolutely. So congratulations once again to all of our Invi participants. You've all performed amazingly well and consistently well, or in the case of Lyndon, just showed up for one event and made it happen. That's very impressive. And of course, our previous winner, Hemsey, from Invi 2020, didn't even have to show up this year, but to their credit, showed up to most of our events, which is fantastic. But yeah, so here's the list. Here's who we have. We have Benny R. Do we want their deck names now as I read them out?
No, let's just go through the player names.
Yeah, all right. So Benny R, Skips J, Lyndon, Jedi's Walker, Aragoth, Rolling Royce, P. Jaw, the AV Cable, Tom D, Hemsey, Yanley, The Goat, and K-pop Fanboy, who is not actually a K-pop fanboy.
Really?
He's not. He mentioned it in the chat of the previous league finals that the name is not exactly true.
All right. Well, what we'll do is after the stream, we'll sit him down with Estella, my daughter, and she can educate him in the ways of K-pop because she is a K-pop fangirl.
So who's your favourite K-pop artist, Cracker?
It's Rosé from Blackpink.
Is there one like Bring the Horizon or something? I don't know. I
have no idea.
Neither do I.
Estella is obsessed with Blackpink. And yeah.
I'm sorry.
We're not here to talk about K-pop, except for K-pop fanboy. We'll get to their deck list later. We're here to talk from the top. We've got, I guess an overview, mate. There's a lot less green than I thought we might be seeing.
Yes, there is a lot less green. We have quite a diverse meta here. I'm pretty wrapped with what I'm seeing, to be honest with you. That there's a little bit of everything.
Yeah, me too.
Maybe a bit much of some, right? No, of course not.
I mean, there's
they're
just
in your
many,
colours, so you love it.
Blue red lands. all right. Blue red lands. Benny R. Let's start off. Benny is playing Grixis Horror.
Grixis Horror. So we've got the what is it? The
Hullbreaker Horror.
So that's like the new end boss at the moment, right? It
really is.
Very polarizing.
Yep.
I
mean, we've talked about it a bunch on this cast the last few weeks, in the predictions and kind of how we're seeing it play out. So this deck, I mean, look, there's 12 decks. We're not going to go through all 75 cards on each one because that will take us way too long. This deck seems really good. Benny is playing, 2 Hullbreaker Horrors and a Leer, and then just 30 spells.
Yep. All the spells. That's all you need.
Just all the spells, because you just get to cast them multiple times.
Exactly.
How is that not like the best thing to be doing? And then like bouncing spells. Yeah.
Bounce spells, do the things, flip the egg, attack with the dragon, cast some more spells, do the damage. Yeah. It's solid, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think this is
So we're going.
This is my kind of style of deck. He is going all the way up to Elrond's Epiphany, which you don't see a lot of. It tends to be either like Epiphany decks or Hullbreaker decks.
Yeah,
is kind of what I've
split the difference here.
Yeah, he's gone 2 and 2, and I think that's probably right. You can't have 8 7-mana spells
absolutely.
in the deck.
No, I like this. I think it, you bring the black in to just get more removal, right? In a creature-based meta, which is what we basically got with your mono greens and your mono whites and obviously dragons and even horrors. So, yeah, it makes sense to just go hard on as much removal as you can get. Which I think was something that was, like, because Grixis has sort of not been around much of late. And now, obviously, it's showed up. I think there was a bit of talk sort of with Crimson Vow and stuff like that, Grixis would be on its way back. And I think we're seeing that now.
Yeah, we definitely are seeing a bit more. And there's some other, we've got some Orzhov decks, which we'll get to a bit later. So, I said a couple of weeks ago that, black was kind of not really a feature in Standard anymore. And it's still very much just a supporting colour here. This is an Izzet deck splashing black. We've got a couple of copies of Infernal Grasp, a couple of power word kills, and then there's some go blanks and things in the sideboard. So it's a pretty light touch here. But the mana's better now. We've got extra dual lands and things to get away with these kinds of mana bases to support the 3 colors. And then you've got Unexpected Windfall, right? We're playing full 4 copies of that to kind of really juice up when we're playing these expensive cards, and also just to help with the colors as well. So interestingly, Benny is playing a couple of copies of Galvanic Iteration as well. So he definitely wants to, fork some extra turns or, some windfall. So it'd be interesting to see how that comes together.
Yeah, Iteration on a windfall is nice.
Yeah.
Draw all the cards, make all the tokens.
Yep.
Yeah, I like
6 mana, draw 4, make 2 treasures, discard 1, because you only have to discard the 1.
So that's right, because you're copying it, you're not casting it a second time.
Correct.
So, that's beautiful. See, that is beautiful. And so we're running also a couple of Field of Ruins in there to deal with those pesky Faceless Havens.
Yeah, and probably a hedge against the
other Storm Giants. And...
Well, yes, Storm Giants, but also in case someone was going to get right out there and bring the Book of Exalted Deeds combo.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like it for... I mean, Eddie's for Faceless Haven there as well. I guess it's kind of the same thing. But yeah, I think, if you can support it, then it's pretty good. Pretty good. There's some double pip spells, but they're mostly in... There's no double pip black spells, I guess, is probably the most important thing here.
No, other than in the sideboard with the Meathook Massacre.
Oh, yeah, I missed that one before. Yeah, he's got a couple of copies of that.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
Look, that's okay. There's plenty of mana to support that.
This is nothing particularly new, I guess, and that's probably, true for a lot of these decks. There are some new ones that we're seeing, but mostly these are just kind of twists on a theme we've seen before. So... Why don't we keep going? Because we could spend ages talking about Grixis.
All right,
getting away from us.
So next up is one of the aforementioned the blue-red mana decks, Skips J with the Is It Dragons?
Yep.
Which, look, I think at this point we're all quite familiar with Is It Dragons and what it's trying to do. It likes to take extra turns. It likes to smash face with dragons, flip eggs. We've got the full complement of Expressive Iteration. Gee, that's a lovely card.
Oh yeah, it's the best.
Like I think if you're playing blue and red, you're playing 4 of.
I mean, that's one of the main reasons to play blue and red.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like that is a huge draw to it over playing, Dimir instead. Iteration is just so good. So a couple of interesting things here. We've got a copy of Imrith, the Desert Doom, which is the blue dragon.
The old Ward 4 if untapped.
Yeah, and the one that when it deals combat damage to a player, draw a card, and then if you have fewer than 3 cards in hand, draw equal to the difference. So not all gold spends. We still do have 4 gold spends as well, because if you're playing dragons, that's that's the draw card to playing dragons.
Can we just say that is the dragon, right?
It is, definitely. And then, a couple of copies of Windfall, and then 3 of Epiphany as well.
What I like, and I haven't been playing the Is It deck. I haven't played Is It for quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
But what I like is the Hullbreaker Horror 2 of in the sideboard. Is this just you're playing blue, get it in? Like
it's just almost
such
unbeatable.
A house, right?
It's the control mirror, right? If you're playing the mirror, or if you're playing against a control deck and you resolve it, you pretty much win.
Yeah,
because it's just the fact that you've got so many cheap spells, like Fading Hopes and Spikefield Hazards and things like that. Like you can target them with a Spikefield Hazard to bounce your Hullbreaker.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's lots of different play there.
Yeah, a
couple of things I really like in this one. We do have 3 copies of Spikefield Hazard. We talked about that, and particularly Thalia being, a real strong draw card, and Mono White getting a lot better. And also Cinderclasm. A couple of copies of Cinderclasm in the main, and then, I think that's a really good one to have.
That is it, yeah. That is a strong card for those white decks that tend to have a lot of 1 toughness creatures, particularly early on. Yeah,
they are going really wide these days. Yeah. They do get tall pretty quickly as well, so
can confirm.
You do they do have the option to kind of get out of hand of the Cinderclasm, but you only need to hit a couple of things, and it's definitely worth the investment.
But I think the way this deck in particular works, you're bouncing things with Fading Hopes and Divide by Zeros early on as well. Like you're just constantly keeping the board clear. Mm-hmm. And then, if you haven't got your Cinderclasms or your Spikefield Hazards, they're still having to cast fresh creatures that haven't had a chance to get tall yet. And then you can start bringing those in once they do get it, before they get tall, and kill them anyway. So it, for me, this deck just feels really strong in the mono white matchup.
Yeah, I think so. Look, there'll definitely be draws. I mean, it's true of everything, right? Where there are draws for either side, where the mono white deck can just go, Thalia into a bunch of disruption pieces, and there's a bunch of really powerful 3 mana, white creatures where they can just, kind of tax you enough to get the beats done.
Yeah.
And really, sometimes you only need that extra turn or two. But if they do have the Fading Hopes, and admittedly, like Skips has only got a couple of copies of Fading Hope, so he's leaning pretty heavily on Fading Hope, and Spikefield has it in the early game. We've got 4 copies of Dragonfire, so that'll hit most things in the mono white deck, and a bunch in the mono green as well. Particularly as you've got a bunch of dragons you can reveal. So
yeah, true.
There's a lot of interaction in it. It's very clearly built to do that. And once you get to 4 and 5 mana, every spell is so powerful that you kind of can run away with it from there.
What's next?
What's next is... I've forgotten the name because it's Linden, isn't it?
It's Linden, yep. L
Right,
Wall.
perfect.
Yes, that is Linden.
L Wall. Yes, Linden. I was looking at this. I know there's another name for this. Man, this is just straight up. Is it Epiphany, right? Like
yes.
This is just.
Yes.
I am looking. We're looking at the Goldfish list, and it is spells 37. That's it.
Yep.
Plus the lands.
Plus the lands.
Yep. So we are fully into the, 4 Galvanic Iteration, 4 Unexpected Windfalls, 3 Burn Down the House for Sweepers, and then 4 Elrond's Epiphany.
Ooh.
4 combo.
It's good.
29 lands, technically. 23 and 6,
Yep.
spell lands. But, wow.
Wow is right. Yep, wow is right.
Look, we've seen this a lot. This was definitely the big bad leading into Crimson Vow. And then looking at what we've got on the sideboard here, we've got a couple of copies of Goldspan. There's a Hullbreaker Horror. We've obviously got the lesson package that we're kind of used to now. And then, you've got Test of Talents and a Malevolent Hermit, which was also, kind of a really good control matchup.
Yeah.
Breaker as well, So, I mean, left unchecked, this deck will do what it does, right? It'll take 5 turns in a row and kill you with a bunch of birds.
And it will do it. And it will have fun doing it too.
It'll feel good about it too. Exactly.
But it doesn't care about your fun.
Correct. Your feelings don't matter. Speaking of, we've got Jedi's Walker, and I mean, what have we got going on here?
So we're looking at another Izzet deck.
We are.
We're calling it
Izzet
Epiphany.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's accurate.
But I think it's closer to Dragons with...
It's definitely Dragons.
With Epiphany on the side.
Kind of. This one's actually got the most creatures we've seen so far. With a total of 9. It's got 4 Goldsprans, 3 Leers, and then 2 Hullbreaker Horrors. So a bit of a diversification of the threat package. And then, just 27 spells. All the things you would expect to see. But I guess, it's been classed as Epiphany because they are playing the full 4 copies of Epiphany.
That's true.
So...
But I mean, Skips J's list is only playing 1 less, but we're not calling that one Epiphany. Come on, Shorty. What are we doing here?
No, but he's got 5 dragons and no horrors.
5 dragons. Okay.
Listen,
sure.
Listen, Stu, I don't know if you've been to the Wizards deck naming lessons yet, mate, but what we do is we take 5 different Izzet decks that are 70 cards the same, and we call them 5 different names because otherwise people will think the format isn't diverse and get mad.
Yes, of course.
Okay, so just we'll cut that bit of the cast out. Just, if you could remember that for next time.
Oh, I'm so embarrassed.
That's all right. We'll get you there.
So, like you say, we've got the 3 of them, right? These are the 3 red-blue decks, which, for me, are the bad guys because... I'll be honest, and I think I mentioned this in the last league, and Chewy didn't agree, but I don't like extra turns. I like taking extra turns, but in general, I don't know. There's something about it in terms of a spectacle and watching Magic or commentating it. For me, it doesn't have that. There's no excitement there for me. It's like, oh, great, there's an Epiphany. Oh, there's an Epiphany. All right, take all the turns. That's fine. But I don't. You know what I mean? It's just not very compelling gameplay where I come from.
Yeah, I have to agree. Like,
This is not a judgment on anybody playing the decks.
No. It's the most powerful thing you can be doing. Right?
So why wouldn't you? I understand it completely. Yeah. I just don't think it should exist.
Yeah, look, I kind of have to agree.
Do you remember Nexus of Fate?
I do. The first time you see someone chaining Galvic iterations into Epiphanies from like a literal 0 board state to a win is impressive, right? Like you look at that and you go, that is a thing that is just, that's an impressive, combination of draws and ways to win. But I've seen it now. I don't need to see. So, there's a lot of prizes. We've got like $3,000 worth of prizes in line for these players. So,
which we're going to go over a little bit later.
We will. So, like, I fully get behind bringing the most powerful thing.
Oh, I do too.
And you should.
I do too.
I think this is more of a commentary against why do we keep printing extra turn spells? And there's another one in the set that actually no one seems to be playing. But, when will we
not yet. But they will. That will come. I just think at the moment I don't think there's any real need for them when you're able to copy Epiphanies. Yeah. Rather than instead of running the gauntlet with the new one and the possibility of not being able to cleave it and going, I think I can do it, and killing yourself. So this is much less risk adverse.
I mean, that should be how extra turn spells are, though.
Yeah, I don't mind.
There should be like a significant downside. You shouldn't get attackers and blockers and things to go with it. But anyway, let's not do the whole Epiphany song and dance again.
No, absolutely. But
because we do have some,
No, it's all right. Yes,
we've got some spicy decks coming up.
I love spice.
I know. So go for it. What have we got?
Our friend Aragoth, who is the historic master, right? And obviously standard master as well, because they're in the Envy. They're bringing along some Jund. Now, I think we all love a bit of Jund, right? It's a color combination that is pretty cool. Yeah, and so we go from decks running like 4 or 5 creatures, node creatures, to 22.
Mm-hmm.
What have we got here? Like there are cards in this list of creatures I've never even seen before.
It's pretty great. So, look, I mean, we've got 4 copies of Kalane, which is probably one of the ones that hasn't seen a lot of play. It's red and black for a 1/2, and when it enters the battlefield, you create a treasure. Other creatures you control enter the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter for each mana from a treasure spent to cast them.
So it feels like we're going to be trying to do lots of treasure things. Is that what we're...
It feels like we're just doing a bit of everything here.
Actually, yeah. It does come across that way. We've got dragons.
Yep.
We've got hasties. We've got Valky, because it makes sense. We've got a Lolth.
Sure. Yep.
All the removal. Some removals. Not all the removal. There's a bit there.
Yeah, there's a bit. I mean, they're playing, a lot of creatures, and so that obviously chews up a bunch of your slots for removal spells. So there's Magda and Valky and Florian, which is, one of the newer cards from the previous set.
Oh, it's nice to see that, yes.
Graveyard Trespasser, which is one of the cards from the previous set as well. Reckless Stormseeker, which we've seen do a lot of work, particularly in the Gruul Beats decks.
Yeah.
Imistrum Predator, which is a vampire dragon, because why not? Does Jack know this one exists?
I'm not sure if I've shown her this one. Do you know this one exists? Oh, sorry.
You could show her later. And then a Moonveil Regent and some Goldspans as well. So like a big suite in kind of going, I mean, we're going from 2 to 5 mana on the creatures, kind of all the way up the curve. And then, like you said, there's a copy of Lolth and a smattering of, interaction.
Yes. So we're able to obviously generate extra mana through treasures early in the hopes of ramping into these bigger creatures as well. And also running, the full complement of Catmobiles.
Mm-hmm.
Which, what are we making... Oh, I guess you're making... You can... What tokens are we going to be copying? Treasures? Or
treasures or
spiders? the spiders as well.
Yeah. I mean, you can copy spiders. I don't know if you'd want to. I think.
Oh, yeah.
Menace.
I'm just so used to playing mono green and just copying trees, so I always forget that other tokens exist.
Yeah. So in the sideboard, we've got an all black card sideboard here. So
Dread Fuge.
Yeah.
What is that? Target player Fugu.
Yeah.
Target player reveals their hand. You choose a non-land card from it with mana value 2 or less in brackets. That player discards that card. Right. Okay. So we're looking at a
It's like a mini Inquisition, or for 3 mana it's a Thoughtseizes.
Yeah. Got it.
It's actually
one of the new cards.
Yeah. I've seen some people playing it, and it did some work in the decks. It wasn't a Jund deck, so.
Yep.
But getting to bring in some discard against the thing that's important about this one is it's not like duress, because you can actually use it against mono white, and you can take creatures.
Yeah.
Which is something that Inquisition would let you do, but we don't have that in the format. But we have duress, and so duress has kind of been the go-to card for this sideboard slot if that was what you wanted. But I think this is probably better in most cases.
I think so.
So it's a bit more versatile. And then Ray of Enfeeblements, because we're clearly worried about mono white, which makes a lot of sense. So I mean, Jund them out is definitely a saying, right? It's one of those things that has stood true for a long time in Magic. It also hasn't been good for a while in Magic, I would have said. So I'm keen to see how this does. I don't know how well it will line up against, these decks that are either, super aggressive
or taking all the turns.
Just super over the top.
Yeah.
I hope it's good.
I'm going to enjoy watching it.
Yeah, for sure. And look, Jund is one of those decks when you look at it, and I remember looking at it for Modern when I started playing that a long time ago now, and you just look at these collection of cards and I just don't understand how this deck wins. Yeah. Like, you're not looking at it going, oh, I can Galvanic Iteration into a second copy of, Alrod's Epiphany and take 2 extra turns and make 4 birds, and I can do it. Like, that's kind of obvious in air quotes, if that makes sense. Like, that's a very clear, synergistic, busted thing. And Jund, you're just like, yep, my cards are just like the best on rate that they can be for each point on the curve, and I will just, play threats that you have to deal with, and I will deal with your really annoying things, and you just grind people. So I actually find Jund decks really hard to evaluate as to is this good or not? Because they are more than the sum of their parts most of the time is what I've experienced playing both with and against it at different points.
Yeah, that seems fair. I'd say that'd be the case. Back
in your wheelhouse, though, mate.
I can't evaluate anything, but
no. All right. So, Stu, just second lesson here, mate. We'll cut this bit out of the podcast as well. All right. We're on a podcast, which means we have to have strong, over-the-top opinions about everything, and you're always right. Okay?
Oh, you got that bit right. I am always right.
Okay. Good. All right. Perfect. So, it doesn't matter if you haven't played with it. You just make evaluations off the top of your head, and you're good. All right? But
it looks fun. It has cards that I like in it. It's got dragons.
It does have dragons. All right. So, speaking of cards that you like, you've played a lot of this.
This is where it is at, my friends. So, Rolling Royce, great friend of the cast, he was involved I got to commentate with him in the last league, which was a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. He's bringing mono green aggro. Yes, that mono green aggro. And I love it. It's different to my deck because I haven't updated mine because I don't have wild cards. Mm-hmm. So we're running the 4 Ascendant Pack Leaders from the latest Crimson Vow, which is the 1 green 2/1 wolf. And when it enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it if you control a permanent with mana value 4 or greater. And whenever you cast a spell with mana value 4 or greater, put a +1/+1 counter on it. So that's pretty cool. We have a solitary Lotus Cobra, 3 Sculpture of Winter to untap our Snowlands, because Mono Green only runs Snowlands.
Mm-hmm.
The werewolf pack leaders, mammoths, old growth trolls, and the Ulvenwald Oddity. I really like this card, Cracker. And going back to talking about limited, the classic saying of just draft rare bombs. Can I just say that this thing is a rare bomb?
Oh man.
Oh.
This is my idea. Look, this is my idea of a good time in limited. As long as you're casting it, right?
Yeah, exactly. I have drafted it once and did some serious work with it, and I had it in a sealed pool, which was amazing.
Nice.
Anyway, I digress. I don't know if everybody knows this card.
It's good to talk about it. So rattle it off real quick, mate.
Yep. So it's 2 and 2 green for a 4/4 trample hasty beast with 5 and 2 green, transform Ulvenwald Oddity, which it transforms into an 8/8 beast horror with trample and haste, and other creatures you control get +1/+1 and have trample and haste.
Yep.
It's pretty good.
Yep.
It's pretty good. What are we looking at? Like, it's kind of I mean, is it, maybe it's like a Craterhoof Behemoth light?
I guess I would look at it as like a questing beast to start with.
Well, to start with, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how often you're going to get to the transform stage.
Yeah, probably not often.
If you do, you've got 7 mana, you flip it over, you've got an 8/8 trample haste and all, like an anthem, and yeah, like you win that game most of the time, I would say, pretty comfortably.
Yeah, I'd say so.
And then from there, what we've got is, it's just a really good card. I like this one. A lot of decks were playing the Froghemoth in that slot, but that was 5 mana.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a bit much, I guess.
Yeah, look, I mean, it is. Like, coming down just that turn earlier, or even 2 turns, like you can cast this pretty easily on turn 3.
Yes.
With a Lotus Cobra or with a Sculptor of Winter. So, it's just... Mono Green is just doing its thing again, man. It's just jamming big green boys and saying, can you beat this?
Yeah, exactly. And so obviously we've also got the 4 Blizzard Brawls, which has become quite the card. And the Snakeskin Veils for a little bit of protection. I tend to end up losing them, like getting rid of them pretty quick in a game too. I feel like they're good, but sometimes... I don't know. What I do like in the sideboard is the 4 of Inscription of Abundance, which has become sort of my MVP when playing mono green.
Okay.
Do you like this card? I love this card.
Yeah, actually, it does seem really strong. It's a modal spell, man. Modal spells do. They let you do what you need them to, right? Yeah. And obviously, Royce really likes as well. He's got 4 copies in the board here, so really leaning into that a lot. So I think this will be in a lot of places. The fact that it's just like another fight card or a pump spell, it gives you a lot of different choices. So I'm interested to see that coming in. And a couple of copies of Ren and 7 just chilling in the board, to go that little bit bigger against, like the Jund deck, for example, if we see that matchup. I expect
I'd imagine they would come in for sure.
Yeah, and against dragons as well, I would think, you want to just get that little bit bigger. You make a 5/5 tree pretty easily, and it's got reach, and that just becomes a really annoying threat. And as you said, if you get to start cloning those with chariots, then, that's a really amazing spot for the mono green deck to be.
Yeah.
So the stock on mono green has gone down a fair bit recently, and it's because it got a little bit from Crimson Vow, but mono white has really got a lot. But before we get to mono white,
there is another mono white, another mono color in between, right?
There is. I feel like we really need Shorty here for this bit, but P-Jaw, mate, has just leant into his roots and said, I don't know what's good, I'm just going to play mono red. And
I love it.
He's just playing mono red.
Now, was it P-Jaw at the last Invi that was just top decking like a madman?
Sure was.
With mono red?
Yeah. You and I commentated a couple of his games, and he just top decked like an absolute monster.
So I've never seen anything like it. And you're like, Pedro is dead in the water here. This is it. This is game over.
Yeah, he's got a one-outer. There it is. All right, he's got another turn. It's another one-outer. There it is again.
There it is.
So
I've never seen anything like it. Like it was incredible, and I would love to see it happen again. So it's almost okay. Maybe it's not. I've just looked at the list now. I was thinking, is it like a mono red vampire-y? But it's not. It's just
no. What it is it's 10 1-drops.
Yes,
because
yes, it
that's
is.
what you need. And then a lot of another 6 2-drops, and then he's kind of going a little bigger. Up all the way up to Moonvale Regent. But I saw one of the things he was talking about was just he was looking for a deck to just jam some new Chandras in.
Yep.
And I guess this was the shell that made the most sense. You're wanting to you add a red, you deal a damage.
Yeah, it's perfect.
That's kind of what you're wanting to do. So I guess it lets you play your Moonvales pretty consistently on. I mean, you have no other acceleration, but Moonvale is a 4-drop. But if you get stuck on 3 lands, you can go Chandra plus, and then plus again next turn to cast your Moonvale Regent. And look, dude, you've had Moonvale Regent in play. I've had it in play. It's dropped off a little bit now. That card is a house.
It is,
and mono
absolutely.
red will empty its hand so fast, and then you just get to unload. Just refuel. You just get to chain spells, and that's what Pedro will really need to do.
Yep.
Is, get a really aggressive presence, get that early chip damage in with, like the Pit Fighter, the new 2-1 from the last set. And then Hall Monitor as well, to just get in those early beats, and then kind of just hope to be able to draw enough extra gas with the Moonvale region to kind of power through those last bits. So
yeah. What I really love is going back to extra turns and how bad they are, and then talking about the new extra turns card.
Yeah.
That should just be what they are. We do have the single copy of Alchemist Gambit in the main. We do. And I love it.
And I do too. I really appreciate that Pedro's just gone, look, cheeky one-off, let's do it.
Well, it's
sometimes the mono red sometimes against particularly like the Epiphany decks and things, you just need that one turn and you never get it.
And that's what I was going to say, right? Like it's like I just need that extra turn. And I think that's where this comes into it and plays into that perfectly, because it's like, all right, this is it. It's all or nothing. And it just fits the theme of mono red so well.
Yeah. So interestingly, Pedro is actually playing 4 copies of the blue-red pathway, the River Glide, Lava Glide pathway.
Oh,
so he can
see that.
Actually, because like 99 times it's going to come down as a mountain.
Yeah.
It doesn't, who cares? And then just when you've got, 4 mountains in play, you're like, well, I can maybe, I mean, if you're cleaving a 7-mana extra turn spell in mono red, I don't know if you're doing it right or wrong, but, you're doing something.
Although it's possibly a case of the opponent is doing something, and that's how you've got this far. Like you can imagine an Epiphany deck that just can't find any of their Epiphanies, which, might seem unbelievable because they've always got them.
They've always got it.
But in that one time they haven't. This is where the 7-mana Gambit pays off.
Sure. And look, there's actually another one in the sideboard as well, which is great.
There is.
Yes. I really hope to see Pedro just do that at least once.
And so I love
take an extra turn out of nowhere, win the game.
Yes. And we've got a couple more, or the full complement of Chandras is in the sideboard as well to, you can bring all 4 in if you'd like. And if you need to go a bit bigger, well, you're in red, why not bring along some Goldspan Dragons?
Exactly.
I love it. Yeah, I'm excited to see how this goes. I don't know how well it will go, but I love that it's here. I love that it just, along with Jund, same thing, right? Like, they're different. We haven't seen them much for a while, but here they are, and at the pinnacle, and they're going to be piloted by 2 very, very good players. So
correct.
I'm pumped. It gets me really excited.
Yeah, it'll be really fun. All right, so moving on to the next couple, I just realised how long we've been going for already, Stu, so we might have to to power through a little bit here.
Well, we can amalgamate the two of these.
We can. We've got Hemsey and Yanley both bringing mono white. Oh, sorry, not Yanley. It's the AV cable. And Hemsey, sorry, have brought mono white. Pretty similar kind of lists from what I can see. There's
not much different at all.
It looks like there's a Valorous stance in Hemsey's deck, which is an excellent card.
It is a good card until you cast a Thalia and you're like, oh, now my Valorous stance costs one more.
That's true.
It got me in trouble in a couple of games. But it is a good card, absolutely.
Not as bad as my Thalia Delver deck that I was talking about. Anyway, look, we've talked about this deck in passing and also in the last couple of weeks as well. Mono white, top tier these days. You know, it's with Thalia and Valorous stance and just, you know, a couple of other cards here. You know, Intrepid Adversary is really very strong.
Yes,
and
it
then
is.
Also, you know, like Sun Gold Sentinel. There's a number of these kind of just really hard hitting creatures that they've picked up in the last two sets, which have really pushed it over the top and you know, kind of squished out mono green.
Yeah, I think it has. And for a long time there, you know, in previous casts and even at the last finals, I spoke a lot about how mono green just has this longevity, right? It just doesn't matter how long the game goes on unless people are taking extra turns. It just hangs in there. But what I've found is this is doing the same thing. The mono whites are doing the same now.
Mm-hmm. For sure. And look, they've kind of picked up so many tools with like Brutal Cathar, Elite Spellbinder, and Skyclave Apparition. I know we've seen those last two for a while, but you know, that suite of just interactive creature spells that then just beat down, you know, really just do a number on a lot of these decks. And because they're so low to the ground, you know, they're really trying to go like, you know, one drop into, you know, 2 1-drops or 1 drop into a 2-drop and then a 2 and a 1 on turn 3. You know, they're really low to the ground, trying to curve out very hard like that. All they need sometimes is just that one extra turn, that one creature out of the way. You know, you go, haha, I've got a 4/4, and they're like, never mind that, Sonny Jim. Brutal Cathar you.
Such a good card.
It just is, you know, just gets that thing out of the way and just pushes through those bits of damage that it needs to. So I expect a really strong showing of mono white. Both, I mean, look, we talk about the quality of the players. All our players are ridiculous. I don't even think it's worth saying anymore. They're all just way too good. But both, you know, Hemsey and Tom D have been, you know, present in the Beans for a long time, and they always put up really top results. You know, like winning the last Envy.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one thing that needs to... One thing I've found with mono white is the Sun Gold Sentinel. I don't know, did you mention that just before? I don't think you did.
I did say it, yeah, but what about it specifically?
Well, when it enters or when it attacks, you exile up to one target card from a graveyard. And if you can get Coven on board, which is pay 1 and a white, and you can give it hexproof from a particular colour until end of turn, and it can't be blocked by creatures of that colour, this card can actually run away with it.
Yeah.
If you are playing against an Epiphany deck and you know they're relying on or you know a Lear deck or something like that, you can start just chipping away at their graveyard and taking away their cards. Yeah, and I love that.
And it's like it's just at worst case a 2-mana 3/2.
Yeah,
which just clocks really hard.
Yeah, it's very good. So I'm really excited to see how these mono white decks will go. I think they'll go really well.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. So the next ones we can actually kind of bundle together because again they're quite similar. We've got a couple of Orzhov control, Orzhov mid-range lists here.
We do.
So these ones are interesting. You know, Orzhov wasn't really a thing. There was a little bit of mono black, and I guess there was a little bit of Orzhov, but it kind of picked up some more tools again. So we're seeing like Eye Twitch and now Shambling Gust, Professor of Symbology, Felstinger, which is a huge pickup for this deck. That card is amazing.
The card is so good.
It just kind of does everything you want. And then copies of Edgar the Charmed Groom. The old 4-mana 4/4 and other vampires you control get +1/+1.
See, when you look at it on the surface, that Edgar seems really out of place.
Mm-hmm.
Until you realise what the backside of it does as well.
He makes
vampires tokens when he dies. He makes vampire tokens, and then after 3 turns, he flips back over and he comes back, and you have those white and black vampire creature tokens that are also getting +1/+1 as well.
So, even though Edgar is legendary, right? He's a named creature. He's, one of the main characters from the set. They're playing 4 of here. And one of the cute things you can do is legend rule your own Edgar. So you can, have one in play and then cast another one to kill one of your Edgars and then start making 2/2 vampires.
And just loop the
and then flip it over. and then
do it again.
just ping them back and forwards. This deck is trying to do that sort of thing, right? We've got Deadly Dispute, Infernal Grasp, Lolth. Like we're not a beatdown deck here. This is very much a mid-range control deck.
Yeah, for sure.
Three meat hook massacres, and I think that this is. Look, I'm not going to say it's like Yorion Charming Prince kind of thing, but it gives me that kind of vibe.
Oh, the vibe is there for sure. Yeah,
a couple of things that are just built-in engines and harder to interact with. Engines are always a really powerful thing. The artifacts. Look, people are packing the braids because, of chariots and things like that. So I'm not saying that, the coffin side is invulnerable by any stretch, but it's definitely harder to deal with. And if you kill Edgar, then unless you're exiling it, I mean, like you said, cool, done. You okay? I'll just cast the other one now, and I'm attacking with 2/2 bats. So yeah, I like it. I'm interested to see how this plays out.
Another limited tip from Stu.
Yeah,
draft Edgar. Oh my gosh. I had a lot of trouble. I never drafted Edgar, but I know I did once, but I did have a lot of trouble with my opponents with Edgar. The card is good.
Pro tip, draft the rare.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm very much loving the fact that we have these Orzhov decks as well.
Yeah.
Just the variety we've got. And thank you to our Invi participants, all of you, for everything you've done, but also bring in some spice and some interesting build. I'm genuinely excited about how these are going to play out.
Yeah, me too. So the last deck we've got, and we probably should have said this one at the start. This was just the order they were in a spreadsheet. Is K-pop Fanboy, and we've got another Izzet deck. Or am I?
It is it? We do have a very small splash of white in the sideboard, but yes,
so we do. There's a couple of copies of Valor Stance, but I mean it's an Izzet deck.
It's an Izzet deck.
And,
it is,
and this is 4 gold spans, 2 Leers, 2 Hullbreaker Horrors, and there's no epiphanies in this one.
All right. See, we've traded out the epiphanies. We've got the horrors.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just
go
with that.
A couple of copies of the Celestis.
Now, did K-pop Fanboy play this deck in the previous finals or similar? Is he running it back? I have a feeling they are.
I don't remember. But obviously, Hullbreaker Horror is a big pickup.
Yes.
For this particular one. So whether they were playing something similar or not, I mean, it would make sense. It was a powerful strategy last season. It's still a powerful strategy now.
It took K-pop Fanboy to the grand final against Linden.
It did.
And it was just this is cool. I like no epiphanies.
Yeah, look, and
I've got to stop. I'm going to upset somebody.
No, it's fine. You can upset them. I mean, did you hear me? I said nice things about Mono White. That hurt, but I think it's really good.
Well, I think it's nice to appreciate things that are good, and Mono White is good. It's a good deck. Anyway, we're not talking about Mono White.
Well, I do like there's a couple of copies of the Celestis in here as well. And I don't know if you've seen the Celestis, go and check. It's one of those cards that doesn't seem, like it's going to do much. But you can make it into night or day, and then, like you can do that kind of at will, so you can mess with your opponent's battlefield a bit, which is pretty cool. And, it ramps a little bit, and also, you get to draw a card and discard a card, so you can kind of sculpt your hand really nicely with the Celestis while, getting ready to do all the other things you need to do. So I expect that one will see, a bit of play. And we've also seen that in Benny R's list, that tends to happen.
I was just going to say, I think I saw that, yeah.
In the Grixis list as well, because it's a bit of mana fixing as well. So
yeah, I don't mind that.
No. All right. So that is the 12 lists we have.
So that's our comprehensive preview of the deck list. Like, I feel like we've really nailed them, and I hope our listeners understand and appreciate the effort we've gone to really get down to the nitty gritty of them.
Jokes. I like it. Okay, so we've always got to do the thing. We've got to put each other on the spot.
Yeah, all right.
What do we think? What's okay? I'll give you two. What is your pick for the archetype that'll win, and then the player?
Oh,
who do you want to win, regardless of whether you think they've got the best deck or not?
Who do I want to win? Well, this is the most ridiculous question that could be asked of anybody, okay, because I honestly would be wrapped with any of these individuals. I think they're all fantastic people, but if I have to pick, all right, have to pick, I think I'm picking Aragoth. I think.
Okay.
Oh.
You like the idea of the Jund deck, don't you?
I don't think it's good enough. But I also think, like you said, Jund does Jund things, and I think it could just surprise a lot of us.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, I don't know. Should I take that back? No, we're going to stick with it. Let's stick to my guns.
All right.
What about you?
I'm going to say Benny R.
Grixis. Beautiful.
I like the Grixis horror list.
So do I.
Benny is a house, and also, like, such a nice person. Like, every time I've chatted with him, he's just an absolute
Legend.
So, that's true of everyone I've talked
That's
to
what
in
I'm
the
saying. That's what I said.
Everyone at champs. I don't know how we managed to get such a good group of people hanging out with us, mate. But
well, it's clear that our followers here are our friends that also reflect. They reflect on us, who we are, I guess. So naturally, the kinds of people we are, we attract that similar type of person. I don't know. I don't know how all that stuff works, but it makes sense in my head.
Sure. Let's go with that. And then, we've got a few trolls for, Chewy. We've got, Ties and a couple of other people like that, who just... Sorry, Ties. So mean. All right. So,
great people.
Look, I think this, like we've said in the past, but this is actually a really good metagame. I'm really pleased to see the diversity. It would have been pretty easy to have more of mono white or more. I mean, even though there's a couple of mono white decks, and obviously there's a lot of Izzet decks, but it's possible that we could have just seen 10 copies like that.
Yeah,
if that had happened, I would have been like, well, that's disappointing, but also like not massively surprising. So I'm really glad to see All Self Control and Jund and like just a bunch of different fun stuff. P-Draw repping the mono reds. So really looking forward to seeing how this plays out. I hope everyone, draws well and gets a good mix of lands and spells. It's always disappointing to see people, mulligan to 4 and never hit a second land drop or whatever it is that can happen, unfortunately. But there will be bulk Magic streamed this Saturday, starting from 10 a.m, I want to say.
I believe that's the case. We really should have had this.
I mean, I'm not going, man, so it doesn't matter.
Now, because Cracker and I won't be there, we do have some guest commentators that will be filling in for us, and we are very appreciative of them. I'm not sure if that's been announced or if it's a bit of surprise, so you'll have to tune in on Twitch and find out, I think.
You will have to check. It does start from 10. I did just check. We expect the first match will start probably about 10:30, but there's going to be a lot of Magic played. So please come and support. Hang out. We've had people who came along to watch parts of the last Invi and then joined up for some of the leagues for this year, and had a blast and did really well. So it's pretty awesome. So before we wrap up, though,
yeah.
We should talk about what these players are playing for, because these prizes are...
There's so many, though, and we've gone on for so long.
We have.
We're just going to have to reel a couple off, I think. Just pick two. Pick two of the prizes that you are so pumped about.
One of them says Wheel of Fortune.
That's why I didn't say pick one, because I knew exactly.
One of them says Revised Wheel of Fortune with a custom Magic Beans altar.
Done you haven't checked that Rolling Royce.
Yeah.
So Rolling Royce is competing in this.
He is.
So are we going to see Rolling Royce, if they win,
pick
up their own custom altar?
I mean,
gee, I almost. It's a beautiful piece. He's done an amazing job.
Yeah, he absolutely has. He's killed it. But I mean, it's a revised Wheel of Fortune, man. That's worth like a chunk of money, mind you. So is the revised Scrubland, the Crimson Vow collector boosters,
pretty much all
cash.
of it, and the cash. All of it.
The cash,
folks.
There's a trophy. Shorty's got. You seen the trophy, man?
Looks the trophy's awesome. The trophy is fantastic.
The best prize of all. The token. Custom art token for Josh and Pat's MTG Bazaar. There was not the threat one that Hemsey put together last year.
Which is fantastic.
Which is pretty great. Yeah, it's bowlless with like a little floral wreath thing pretending like he's all sweet and innocent.
Yeah.
It's all lies, just to be clear. And I think that was the whole point. So, the winner will get to design a custom art token with Josh and Pat and their artist there, which is awesome. So I'm excited, dude.
Yeah, man. I'm pumped. I will be tuning into as much as I can throughout the day, and I hope all of their listeners can do the same as well.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So the last couple of things to wrap up. This is the final event that the Beans are running officially for this year. We may do another one day or something or other later, but that won't continue as part of our tournament series for next year. We'll definitely kick off. Usually we start them again February, March, typically. It'll depend on when the sets get released. I can't remember when the next one comes out. But, that'll be the Kamigawa next, isn't it? Neon Dynasty?
I think it is.
I'm pretty sure that's the next set. And then we go to like New Capania after that, or whatever it's called. So I'm excited. So come join our leagues next year. The best place to find us is our Discord. The links will be in the show notes. Otherwise, if you'd like to support us directly, honestly, the best place is to just go to our merch store or to, Josh and Pat's, buy some cards, show them the love that they deserve for all they give us for these sweet prizes. Otherwise, you could sub to us on Twitch if that's a thing you'd like to do. That'd be cool. We'd love to see that on Saturday. If you want to find us, we are just Magic Beans Cast or Magic Beans kind of everywhere. Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. And just, come hang out with us. If you would like to engage with me directly on Twitter, I am at JoelHill_, and Stu, you are?
At mstewie.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us again, and we really hope to see you on the weekend. And take care, stay safe, and we'll chat to you soon.